You'd better not know what I did to this top. Why cannot I do this? Everyone was running and I was like standing behind. By the end of summer, we sold 5. As I have already told you that our first launch, it was in the end of March 2015. To us it was marvelous because it finally happened and we had this idea and the strong feeling that something had already happened. So that we had already like officially started and that we had all the right to tell everyone now that we were working at MIRSTORES, that we were building our brand, etc. So it was a dream coming true, but we didn't think of one tiny thing. Now, when we entered this market at the end of March, we had all the product range we had was made out of wool, but the spring finished like unexpectedly fast, and summer was coming, and we didn't know what to do. It was a warning, like an alarm. So we actually felt it like for the first time. We didn't know that then that this problem, this seasonal issue of MIRSTORES will be here with us like for more than 10 years, that every summer we will be thinking, and even now we will be thinking that like how we are going to survive this season. So, and that was the first time that we thought about it because we loved our beautiful cardigans and our sweaters, but they were totally irrelevant for the heat, and especially in our country. So it was inappropriate, and we started to think what we're gonna do. In this time, we realized that we urgently needed some summer products. And to me, it sounds funny now because, like, at the end of March, when everyone has already released the summer collections, we like thought a little bit that we needed something. So it seems like a funny story, but it felt extremely serious because time was like passing by and we were losing money, so we didn't have enough sales and no one needed our wool items at the time. So we needed to do something like very urgent, and we decided that we should do some cotton pieces. So I took the thinnest cotton yarn and the thinnest, like the smallest knitting needles, and started to do something. Like I started to develop a product, a summer line, which I thought that would be should like consist of some items. And I was looking at the same time at like this brands around me, which released, like they kept releasing every season without any pauses and stops. They were releasing these collections consisting of 20 and 30 pieces, and that they were like shooting them very beautifully. And I was like, why cannot I do this? Why cannot I even develop a product? Everyone was running and I was like standing behind and I was like crawling or whatever. So it felt terrible. And the truth was that all these brands, like they had the teams already, that they were like established companies, and I was like myself trying to build a fashion brand with my own hands. So it felt like ridiculous. We definitely needed help, and we actually found some because probably at that time as well we found a girl she was a knitwear technologist, and she was the first one to bring some expertise into our company, into our brand. So she helped us to develop the products, to make instructions, to solve the construction issues. Firstly, what we did with her, by the way, she did the logo type, like the first logo of MIRSTORES. It was a black box with the white words on it, and we felt more established with this logo. So together with this girl, we designed a very small, like a tiny crop top, which was done in this English rib pattern, and it was thought out to be uh, clean and tight and elegant. But when we received the first sample, it was like nothing that we imagined. It was terrible. It was very big and it was shapeless and it was uneven, and it all felt that something was like really wrong. But still, we were so desperate to make something and to save the summer that we had actually gathered the team to shoot this top. We were thinking that, oh my god, we are going to lose the money, but there was like, I don't know, like $100 probably, because there was like a cheap studio, there was a front with the camera, there was a beginner model, and our friend who helped out with the styling, and a friend who helped us with the makeup and hair. So, and we were like considering it as something so important, as if like all our lives depended on this day. I remember that I, like, for the first time I felt extremely nervous about the results. So I wrote this girl, like the technology girl, that, oh my god, please do something with the top so that on the shooting it would look properly. And when, like, we were expecting her to arrive at this studio, and when she came she told me like, you'd better not know what I did to this top. And apparently she had soaked it in hot water and in cold water. She had cut pieces with scissors, and she had remade all the stitches by hand, like manually. But even though she tried so hard to make it a decent piece, but it looked awful, and it still was wrong, and it was terrible. It looked not that fashionable. So we hardly used these pictures actually, but I remember that we were still trying. And what I actually admire and appreciate about us is that we never finished the story like with this, and the top story actually continued after the shooting, because we started to try to produce something. So we moved our women, like, from the knitters, from knitting wool to knitting this cotton tops. The result was so bad that we thought probably we should think a little bit more of how to do this. And suddenly it occurred to us that probably this item should never be hand knitted, because there are some patterns that are used, like, that are more, that look beautifully with the machine knitting. And we started to search for these knitting factories, even though it was late June. And now it seems funny, right? Can you imagine that for now, that I would do my summer collection for this year like in the end of June? I cannot. But still, we found the factory, and I took the yarns, and I went to this factory in a minibus because it was somewhere outside the city. And I went there for the whole day trying to, and I was so enthusiastic. Tried to talk uh, this factory into doing these tops so that we could save the summer, like, anyway, and that we could do some money in order to survive. But still, we actually started to work with them, and they were a lovely couple. It was a woman and a man running this factory. It was a family business just like ours. But another mistake that we made was that we had already bought this cotton yarns for the tops. So it was the yarn for hand knitting, not for the machine. So for the machine we need the cones. Like, we should put the cones onto the machine and put the yarn into the program. They spent hours, like, moving this turn, putting this yarn onto the correct cones, and we lost some time for that. I would never do this again. I would never try to produce the machine garments with this hand knit yarn. What happened next? We optimized this production process, because with hand knitters it would take like a lot of time to produce these tiny tops, and that would not be that human, like, to the women who worked with us. We produced 100 tops. We produced 100, and it was middle July, so it was the middle of the summer, which was already the end of the season. In August everyone already presented fall collections or pre-fall collections, but we were like in this summer period yet. By the end of summer we sold 5. Actually, we didn't know what to do with these tops, and we were so confident about this model that we thought that probably, and it was the minimal bulk to produce on this factory, so we thought that probably we would be selling them like one by one with time, and probably that we should make some gifting to our friends, to our editors, to our media girls, it girls, bloggers. So it was not a strategy back then. So it was just some attempt to do something, like, to, if we do not sell, at least we would spread the information, at least we would do the seeding, at least we would um, present the products itself. So suddenly something small happened in the early September that it didn't actually change a thing, but one of the Russian celebrities, which we gave our top to, actually posted it, and later she told us that this was the first time what she like found out what the brand was, and later on she told that since then she had been like she was wearing a lot of this top and that she really liked it. It was not it like a game changer back then, but it was a sign, like a tiny sign that the project was still going forward and that we were something, so that we should be continuing like doing this what we wanted to do and what we dreamed of. So what we didn't know then, that this fall which followed would be the turning point, and that everything would change just in a couple of weeks from that moment. Now you know that our first summer was a disaster, and if you work with a product which is seasonal, and if you like swimsuits or crochet dresses or whatever, like remember that you should stick to your dream and never give up on your ideas. I'm happy that we haven't given up on ours. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to be kind to yourselves, and see you later. Bye.